All right, you guys are all set. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Mitch Goldblatt, Chairman of the Orange Recycling Committee. This is the Wednesday, January 19th, 2022, regular meeting of the Orange Recycling Committee. With us tonight, we have members Eileen and Mark Moyer, Patrick Legal, Christopher Prokop, Susan Weiland, Karen Della Justina, and we have a guest, Laura Wu. So welcome everyone, and everyone who's watching out there in Zoom land and also on OGAT, of course. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:06. And the first thing on the agenda is the review of the December 15th, 2021 minutes that have been distributed. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes, or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
And Mark and second by Eileen. Mark's made a motion to accept the minutes as presented, seconded by Eileen. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. Actually, I've skipped over, which isn't on the agenda, is the public participation. And Laura, you're our only public with us tonight. Do you have any participation, anything you want to bring to our attention?
I do not today. Thanks.
Okay. Nice to see you, though.
You too.
Next up is the treasurer's report. Mark, what do you have to report?
We paid for the polywrap vent bags for Rack and Pack. So we now have a budget of $2,521.59 after that invoice.
Okey-dokey. Thank you very much. Next up, we have the, which I can't seem to find at the moment, so hopefully you guys got it. The recycling rates.
Yeah, I saw that we were up. We were 99.87 compared to 87.37, up 14.3% this past month.
Yep.
And
I got it.
down
Still
4.1% for the year.
exactly leaves us down for the year. Actually, you look at that 99.87 tons in December. I think, if I'm not mistaken, was the highest total we've ever had.
Wow.
It was
Interesting.
interesting that didn't give us a record for the year, but certainly gave us a record month. Hopefully that's a harbinger of things to come, and people are continuing to recycle. And we appreciate all those that are recycling, either by putting out the blue bins or taking it to the transfer station, or both, because it all counts. Any questions on recycling rates? I do not have an update on the textiles, although Karen reported this weekend that the bin was full, which prevented me from bringing my things there this weekend. So we did contact Simple Recycling, and they have been hit, quote unquote, hit hard by Omicron, and therefore have had trouble keeping up with some of the pickups, but was supposed to be taken care of this week to empty the bin over to High Plains so we can keep refilling it. And as much as we can put in that particular bin, money does go to the town for the textiles that are collected there. So keep using the bin at High Plains for those discarded clothing and shoes, and please encourage others to do the same. Any questions? All right, next up is old business. Plastic bags and wrap at the transfer station. As some of you are probably aware, the shed has been closed for probably up to almost 2 weeks now. And the reason for that is as follows. We have been, as this committee is well aware, Oak Ridge no longer wants and hasn't wanted for some time plastic bags and wraps being sent to the recycling center, because there's no longer any kind of contract with Trex or anywhere else to accept the bags and wrap through our regular recycling methods. As a result, we've been in contact with ShopRite of Orange to try and work out some sort of arrangement to be able to bring our bags and wraps to ShopRite in Orange, to be able to see that that is recycled along with theirs, which are recycled, by the way. So after weeks and weeks of back and forth, we got an email today from Harry Garofalo, the owner of the Orange ShopRite, saying that we could indeed bring up to 12 wraps to, or bags, I should say, of the wraps to ShopRite, but it would have to be arranged on a Friday to meet their schedules. And they would take up to 12 bags every Friday, which is about what we put out each week, and probably is what is stuffed into the shed right now, waiting for that kind of pickup. The glitch came about today when I was informed that the town is not willing to use its personnel to make that trip. There was some indications earlier that that would not be a problem, but when I made the request today to see if we could work it out for this Friday, I was told that that's not possible and would not be acceptable to the town employees. So right now we're in a quandary. Had a discussion with Bob Britton about this. You know, his feeling is to continue to keep the shed open so that people don't throw bags in with their recyclables and separate them, but then it's just going to get thrown out anyway. Which is very, very disappointing with all the work that this committee has done. So I'm putting it out there if there's any suggestions, other ideas. Sylvie in the Public Works office last week had contacted a place to take plastic bags and wrap, but initially it looked good, but unfortunately they were not located. They had no locations in Connecticut to do so. And so like I say, right now, looking at somewhat of a quandary for us with the efforts that have been laid out for the shed, for the rack and pack, for all the bags. And, you know, short of having, you know, quote unquote, somebody volunteer to take those bags to ShopRite every Friday, I'm not sure what we can do at the moment, but I'm just throwing it out there, see if anybody's got any ideas. Mark.
What time schedule does ShopRite have to accept the bags? Is there a window?
The window was a Friday. Hang on a second. Let me just call up the email that I got today. Give me 1 second. Because I talked to Harry last week and said, hey, look, I got a meeting next Wednesday. I need to have an answer by Wednesday. He said, I'll have it for you. And he did get me something today. I just got to see if I can find it.
I could take some over there. I don't know how many I can stuff in my car, but.
All right, hold on 1 second. Okay.
I forgot. Are we talking about Milford or Orange?
Orange, right on Bull Hill Lane.
Yep.
So this is what, you know, he wrote. I'll read part of it. I'll read the whole thing. Each week we'll accept up to 12 bags. That means the large rack and pack bags of clean plastic recycled material from the Orange transfer station. The designated day for the drop-offs will be Friday of each week. And then he gave me the name and phone number of the contact. He suggested that on each Thursday, someone call the store to arrange the delivery time. And so if we can do that by having somebody, whether on this committee or since we happen to be on OGAT tonight, if there's anybody watching that wants to really help out and feels they can help out in recycle efforts, we really need 1 or 2 contacts. We can't have too many people and get too confusing, who are willing to, you know, if it's Saturday, I could do it myself, but it's got to be on a Friday. And so the person would contact the store on Thursday, make sure they had the room for us in their own transport truck, which presumably he feels that they probably would have up to 12 room for 12 bags, which, like I said, is, I think from what our estimates were, was about a week's worth anyway, to bring to ShopRite to be recycled. And so Pat, you kind of opened the door
I
there. a
could,
little
I
bit.
could do it. I mean, I can't guarantee every Friday. I don't know how many bags I can fit in my car. Does it have to be all
Right.
12 in one? I mean, I'm not sure how many I can stuff in, but I don't mind, doing it when I can.
Okay. Karen, I see your hand.
Right. I think we should have a short-term goal of probably volunteering to take it over there, maybe on a rotating basis. People from the committee sign up. We have to make sure that it's okay to bring that kind of stuff over in private vehicles. If that's kosher or not.
I don't think bringing a private vehicle is going to be a problem as long as we
Okay.
arrange with ShopRite, who the person is and when they're coming,
Okay.
to bring it
Yeah.
over.
It's just plastic
Maybe
wrap. It's nothing
it's not-
else.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, Karen. I'm sorry.
It's just plastic wrap. It's nothing else. It's not garbage or anything like that. So I think it would be fine. And then probably long-term goal that would be sustainable is to, take the time to look into what we can arrange for like pickup and like some kind of service. Cause I think there's lots of plastic wrap that gets recycled. And this isn't the only option. So,
Yeah. I mean, there's tremendous amounts, even with the plastic bag ban, if you will, at the supermarkets. It amazes me how much I collect personally and how much is every time I go to the transfer station,
I
how
know.
much is collected. And, I was actually surprised to hear that we do collect, somewhere upwards of anywhere from 10 to 15 bags of bags. And you know how big those are a
They're
week.
big.
And that's a lot.
That
That's
is.
a lot. And it's a tribute to our residents
Mhm.
who are doing this voluntarily because there's no mandate like there is for other recyclables. There's no mandate to do this, but it's very much appreciated. And I'd hate to see this all fall by the wayside after all the work that this committee has done to make this happen. So Pat, we can talk offline a little bit about this possible arrangement. Mark, you were offering something too. I don't know if I cut you off before.
No, I was wondering what the time frame was, and also, I mean, I would have to check what days I could get to the dump to pick up the bags ahead of time in order to deliver on Friday. Like I can deliver on Friday if they have like, oh, they'll take them at 5 o'clock and I can make that arrangement. I can't do it during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
But the main question is, when can I get to the dump during the week to pick up 6 bags, 8 bags, whatever I can fit?
You can do that probably at any time as long as you're willing to keep them for that, instead of going directly from, point A to point B, being transfer station to ShopRite. If you were to pick them up and hang on to them till that Friday, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Pick them up like a day or two before, and then just transport them over on Friday after making arrangements.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
I
this
would
is-
sign up for
What
a
is
day.
ShopRite going to do with them? I'm sorry.
Excuse me. So
Do you know what
ShopRite,
ShopRite's going to be doing with the plastic?
yeah, ShopRite. I forget the name of the company. I was in contact with them probably 2 months ago when this whole thing started to see if they would accept what we're sending. And then, it's been a long process, as I think all of you know, back and forth. Harry made 2 trips over to our transfer station to see the type of material that we're collecting, got back to his people and found out that would be acceptable. That was, step 1, if you will. So, anyway, they use it for many other projects. In fact, I was told that what they use it for is sometimes proprietary, so they weren't going to go in with me as to what they use it for. It's not Trex. And in fact, I think what was indicated to me is they actually pelletize, if you can believe it, they pelletize the plastic, and then it's used for other purposes. It becomes a new raw material. Now, what that becomes, I can't tell you because they didn't tell me.
And that's a local company, Mitch? Is that local?
No, it's actually goes into New York.
Okay.
It's transported from Connecticut to New York.
And all the ShopRites participate in that?
I believe so. Certainly the ones in Connecticut. It's the Wakefern Corporation, which is the ShopRite. Is my understanding that's what they do. And for those that have been to ShopRite, know that there's, when you enter the stores, at least in Orange and Milford, There's a container
Right.
right when you walk in that you can put your plastic bags in. And so it's the same concept. It's just, we're collecting not at the head of a store, but at our transfer station, which is presumably picking up, in many cases, a lot larger material. Part of the problem has been is those of us who have been to the transfer station know, we do find at times there is contaminants put in those bags, not just dirty bags, which it shouldn't be. Everything should be clean and dry. That's why we have this shed. But one day, Jerry called me over and said, "Come look at this," and it was like tons is the wrong word because it's very light stuff of styrofoam put in the bag. Somebody thinks that styrofoam is the same as plastic bags. It's not. Styrofoam containers are not. Hard plastics that should be recycled are not. So, it's an educational thing that we've done a very good job of, I feel, over the last couple of years, educating the public as to what goes into those bags. And we've got a really great participation. Now we've got to make sure we get it somewhere where it actually makes a difference. And Mark and Pat and Karen, all your ideas are great. And I think that potentially we can work something out here as opposed to seeing these things thrown away. And, certainly, Chris, sorry.
Yeah, just real quick, I'm glad Bob is willing to keep the doors open because I am afraid if they remain closed, folks will just start throwing them, the bags in the dumpster, just, by default. But I'm also curious, a couple things. One, Mitch, do we think this is going to be ongoing, or it's possible this could reverse and they'll start collecting the bags again? So that's a possibility down the line. And should folks reach out to you, or how would they, if someone's watching and they like the idea of maybe trying to do this a couple times on a Friday and join us, would they reach out to you
Well, certainly if somebody would like to help out with this, my information is on the town website under the Board of Selectmen. They can also always email me, call me. I'm very accessible. Text me, whatever, to give me the information. I'll give you, it's 203-535-8505. That's 203-535-8505. People want to text me or call me and volunteer if they can, and we can put together a driver list, if you will, and work with ShopRite on that. And hopefully that's acceptable to them. And to work something out would be fantastic. And I appreciate anybody, first of all, the few people on this committee that are able to step up and have the ability and time to do that. So right now, until we can get the first load out of there, and the fastest we'll be able to do that, and I don't know if it's even possible, would be this Friday. If somebody's able to call tomorrow, we can work something out tomorrow to have a delivery Friday. Otherwise, that shed's going to stay closed until we get the first bags out, because I have not seen the inside of the shed, but I am told that it is quote unquote stuffed with bags of bags. There's no more room. And so that's where we're at. Until we're able to clean that out, we can't take any more. People are always, and listen, this is not something that unlike our textile recycling, this is not something the town makes money on. So if people have bags and they're going to Target, they're going to Home Depot, they're going to ShopRite, bring them there. If you have a small batch, that's what I've been doing for the last several months, knowing that we've had some issues. But it's fine. We want to continue this at the transfer station. I applaud, you guys who have stepped up, and hopefully we'll get some more people who will be able to help out in this regard. And I'll talk to Mark and Pat offline, and we'll see if we can work out something. But that's encouraging, because I was very discouraged this afternoon.
Well, I kind of agree with what Karen said. We can start and do this for several months and keep looking for options, because there has to be other programs available, and maybe we just have to find the right one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
I think I can email you my availability for Thursday, Friday.
You
Great.
can include me
Happy to
too.
do that.
Great, you guys. That's fantastic.
Mhm.
All right. We'll move on to the next bit of old business, which is also not the most encouraging, but not as discouraging. The glass recycling. So there has been communication between Bob Britton and Joe Sardone at Oak Ridge about the glass recycling. However, as you're well aware, we were not one of the pilot towns, nor were we even asked, to my knowledge, to be a pilot town for the separation of glass recycling at the transfer station. And so Joe is going to put together a proposal for the town of Orange, although I'm not optimistic, and here's why. The pilot program had the containers being supplied at no charge to the towns. It said that there would have to be a cost to the container and there would be a cost for hauling. The difference is we would not be paying for the tipping fees. Now, as you may recall, at one point, our tipping fees, and tipping fees for those that are uneducated on this, that's the cost of us per ton to get rid of anything. So the tipping fee for our trash, the municipal solid waste up at the hopper, is about $100 a ton, give or take. Now, for recycling, years ago, we actually got paid a little bit for it. Then it went to about $20 to $40 a ton, still significantly less than what we're paying to get rid of the municipal solid waste. As you may recall, our tipping fees got very close to the same as municipal solid waste. And in some towns who did not have as good a contract as we did, it went above the cost of municipal solid waste and people stopped recycling for a while. Well, the good news is that the tipping fees for glass and recycling overall have dropped back to $40 a ton, thereabouts, approximately. So it's still now, for the town of Orange at least, much more lucrative financially, never mind all the good reasons for recycling, for us to recycle. But as you may imagine, a good part of the weight is in glass. You know, think about what we recycle and what the weight of a glass bottle versus an aluminum can, or even in some cases the weight of paper. But by the way, paper does add up pretty quickly. But so the thought was, so anyway, the cost to the town, according to what Bob heard, was to pay for a container, to pay for the shipping cost to move the container out, and then we would not have to pay anything for the tipping cost or the actual weight. We're not sure if that's going to be lucrative once we see those costs, but Bob's going to get a proposal and we'll talk about it some more. I am extremely disappointed, quite frankly, that the container was not coming for free to the town. And as I thought it had been indicated, it might be, but I guess I'm wrong on that, or was, not led to believe otherwise. And I think others of you were at the recycling plant at Oak Ridge, and I thought that was the impression we got. Now, one of the reasons why we were not selected as a pilot town is, my understanding is that the pilot towns are also separating glass by curbside, or they don't have curbside. Not every town has curbside. So the idea was that, I use this term loosely, 100% of the glass in that particular town would be segregated out of the mixed stream, right? And put into a separate container for glass, either at curbside, or if there is no curbside, it would be at their transfer station and everything would go. So they're well assured that a vast majority of the recyclables coming from the town would not have glass, and the glass would be separate. In Orange, we're not equipped to do that. We obviously could do something like that at the transfer station. But once again, we're not sure where such a container could be put right now. That was part of the reason why we're looking to get a smaller container. And then, not being able to, and guarantee is not the right word, but to assure as best we could that the vast majority coming in would be all the glass coming from the town would indeed all come from be separate from the rest. And so that's where we are with that. Any questions? That's all I know right now concerning the glass situation. Anybody have anything? Any questions?
No, I guess we have to wait for the proposal. I was just wondering if the container was a cost to us to have the container, or if it was like more of a rental thing where we just got charged monthly.
Not sure. I think we'd have to actually buy the container because of the fact that they would make, first of all, Bob is not looking for one that is as large as some of the other towns because we don't have the room for it, at least near our recycling. And in fact, if we did have a small one, we would, if we had a smaller container, it would be custom made, so to speak. So that's part of the issue. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Move on. All right. For the good news.
Great news, actually.
Yeah, it's great news for those that either watched or were participants, and I thank those that were at the last Board of Selectmen meeting, which was held on Zoom. I'm happy to report that the Board of Selectmen did endorse the Haz Waste Collection satellite program for Orange for the first time ever, and very excited about that. Yep.
Great news.
So April 2nd will be the everything day. It's going to be Haz Waste Collection. It's going to be shredding day. It is going to be mattress collections and maybe more. So please, 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 if there's any way possible, we're going to need as many people as possible to help, because that day we're going to need people to direct traffic. And Lori Vitagliano from the Haz Waste Central of the Regional Water Authority was on that meeting call. The Zoom meeting with the Board of Selectmen was very instrumental in helping us sell this program. Talking about how other towns have done it successfully. Obviously, as we talked about in our last meeting, there's a very large cost involved because we will far outweigh the number of, or the amount of hazardous waste that is brought to New Haven from people from Orange by having this right here in our own community, allowing people to just drive down the road instead of having to go down to New Haven. So Clean Harbors would set up their operation at High Plains. My vision of this, and it could be very different when all said and done, because Clean Harbors and Haz Waste will come out and survey the property and figure out what we're going to do. My vision of this is everyone would enter High Plains, the same area where we've had them enter the last couple of times for shredding day and mattress collection. And then if you have mattresses or shredding, you go to the left and proceed to the front of High Plains. If you have hazardous waste, you would go straight and travel the same route. For those of us who have been to the country fair, the carnival, the strawberry festival, where you go straight down the back behind High Plains and then maybe loop around back towards the pool and set up there, there would be a much longer area for the queuing that would be necessary for the Haz Waste, because we would expect a large number of people. And unlike the shredding, it's not a stop, go, drop and go process that takes a few seconds, literally less than a minute. As you know, the Haz Waste will take a bit longer. And so the queuing in line could stack up. But I think with, that kind of operation, with that much room to stack up, we should be able to do that. Plus, the town recently did something similar to that when they handed out the test kits for COVID-19. So with all that, the board said unanimously, let's give it a try, and we will see what happens. We will advertise this through our own media, through Facebook, through our website, through the the newspapers that we deal with to try and get this word out to people. We may want to think about repurchasing signs for this event that say has waste shredding mattresses April 2nd. I think that may be something we might want to do. And this cannot be limited just to Orange residents, although, like I say, I want to push it to Orange residents. If people come from other towns, if the town is a member of Has Waste, which the town of Orange obviously is, the residents will be allowed to bring their hazardous waste, and their particular town, not Orange, will be charged, similar to what happens down in New Haven. That's why you give your town, because the cost of people dropping gets charged back to the town. Questions, ideas, suggestions, but thank you everybody who supported this, which is everybody on this call from the last meeting, and thank you especially to those who attended the last meeting and spoke. Eileen's on there. Thank you, Eileen, so much for your participation, especially that night. Any thoughts, any comments, things I missed? Mark?
Well, no, I just think the biggest question is, will they assist before we put out the advertisement with how people should go on and pre-register for their drop off, so that we have that information not only in the articles and the postings, but also at town hall, so that if anybody calls to inquire about it, that town hall is aware and doesn't say, no, just show up.
Yeah, no, that's a very, very good point. For right now, it's a case of just getting the word out, which has already started to spread, because I've had people call me already about it, happy about it, and excited about the ability to get rid of hazardous waste in their homes that they haven't known what to do with, or, just haven't bothered, but now is the time. But yes, we'll be working much closer as the time gets closer with the Hazardous Waste Central, especially Lori, to get all the details, lists of what will be accepted, what probably is people think is hazardous waste, and which should not be accepted. We're going to need to station a dumpster nearby, because there's two things that happen there. One is that people do bring certain things that they think are hazardous that are not hazardous, which there's no reason to take. So they'll just toss that in the dumpster. And second of all, there'll be a lot of things that come in containers that'll be emptied, and the containers themselves are no longer hazardous, and we'll need a dumpster for that. So there will be, we'll have to arrange for that. I'm sure we'll work with Bob Britton in Public Works to make that happen. But you're right, Mark. We will want people to definitely pre-register. And like we do for those of us who have been to the Has Waste Central and volunteers, this committee's been great at doing the last several years. We know that, if you don't register ahead of time, here's the QR code. You can do it on your phone while you're in the car. Not the recommended way, but certainly it can be done. But yeah, we'll get that information out. Good point.
Mitch, in addition to there being a dumpster, should there also be a recycling bin in case people have
that's a good point.
Bottles or whatever?
Cardboard.
Yeah.
We can certainly look into that too, Eileen. We can probably even possibly drag over some of the rolling bins from the fairgrounds.
I was thinking we could, if what Jake Hollander built a few years ago is still available, we could use it.
That's a possibility too. The only difference is, unlike the shredding, we're not going to be close to that. That's going to have to be working with Clean Harbors, because they're the ones, we're not going to handle any hazardous waste. We're not going to be close to it. For those that have seen this before, we're not going to be dressed up in the white gowns and masks. But yeah, that's a great point though, about hopefully being able to get some things recycled as well. And of course, so we're going to need all hands on deck, because of course we'll need people helping at the shredding portion, as well as the helping at the the has waste portion, and mostly in that case, it's just directing traffic and helping people sign up who have not yet signed up. Chris.
Hey, just real quick, I'm just curious if this qualifies now for one of the bicentennial events, because this is like becoming such a historic operation, including all these recycling
Well,
opportunities.
I think I mentioned that in saying this is to be the first time in 200 years that the town of Orange is going to have this. So
Right.
yes, I think it should be.
Yeah, right.
We could think about a bicentennial giveaway for April. We should think
I'm
about that. Good.
Also, real quick, I'm glad you brought up the signage. I don't know if there's anybody I could follow up or we could talk offline, because I was thinking about it. Obviously, we have our shredding things that we put out throughout the town. If there's something we could add even to that, if we don't, recreate or create something new, if there's something we can pick up from Has Waste Central that we can replicate and make copies of, and then somehow I could attach it to those existing signs that we put out. Let me know if there's something we could design.
We could do that.
Start working on.
Yeah, we could do that, Chris. Or maybe it's time. We've lost some of that. We've been recycling those signs quite a bit, to everyone's credit.
Yeah,
But we probably could possibly for this particular event come up with separate signs that we purchased from our treasury to put out for this particular event.
Sure. Yeah.
And maybe if it's so successful that we do it again the following year, maybe we put down, we just have, simply this Saturday, Has Waste shredding mattresses, something like that, High Plains, 9 to noon. And go with that. So it's April 2nd, folks. Saturday, April 2nd from 9 to noon at High Plains Community Center.
Do you have any idea how many staff people they'll send to work?
How many staff people they'll send? No, I don't know.
If we're not going to be doing the grunt work, they're sending people who do it, right?
Mostly what we'll need to do is the traffic control. I think they'll have.
Yeah, I get that. I was just curious how many people they would have on site, because the number of people they have will affect how quickly it goes.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. That I don't know. I don't know, but we'll get more details when we get closer and work with Lori on that. Okay. Anything further on that? All right. So I'm going to turn to Chris and Eileen. Between the two of you, come up with an idea for a sign. We'll go from there. Any other old business? If not, under new business, I put the Has Waste collection. I didn't put it down there, but that included our shredding day, which is right on schedule. New business, it's been mentioned to me about composting, the project going on, I believe, in Meriden, about composting. I looked into that a bit because I know it was brought up that we should look into the composting. The issue that I understand is, first of all, Meriden received a $40,000 grant to put that program into place. And part of the grant was that there were 1,000 households that volunteered or signed up to be part of this pilot program. And it's all part of their not their recycling, but part of their weekly waste pickup, their trash pickup, that they would have a separate bin that would be picked up by the city. So while it is a great idea, and I applaud Meriden for what they're doing, A, we don't have a grant. B, we don't have the containers, and C, and it wasn't even going to their transfer station. It was being shipped off site, the composting. And also, we don't have municipal pickup as some towns and mostly cities do to make that happen, even at this point. So I was asked to look into it. That's what I report back. I encourage all those who are composting to continue to do so. I I'm not sure that's in the cards in the future for the transfer station, but if we can get through plastic bags and glass, we can put that next on the list. All right. Any other new business or is anything else anyone want to say about the composting? All right.
But it was asked on one of the town groups
Yep.
on Facebook. So, and then it made its way to me because I'm on that group and somebody knew I was on the recycling committee. So, as an alternate, of course.
Well,
And,
that's how, Eileen, that's how it ended up on the agenda. See?
right. So, I'll figure out a way to respond. To
Okay.
not sound so depressing of why we can't. We're like, yeah, we should be able to do this. What's the big deal? Meriden did it. And I'm like, okay, I'll have to explain a little bit why. It's
Right.
not so simple.
Now, one thing we find out, and this goes, it's no better example than waste and recycling is that we have 169 towns and cities in this community, in this state, and they all do it a bit differently. And there's certain things that work for certain places that don't work for others. But we're trying. We're doing our best to improve. And I think we've made some
Thank you for looking
improvements.
into that and finding out so much information in such a short amount of time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Like, it's the other superpower person.
Mark?
Yeah, I just want to go back to one point quickly. So when did Joe indicate he might give Bob the proposal for the glass recycling?
Don't know because that discussion, I think, happened this week, if not today, probably earlier this week. So that's how they left it. Now,
Okay, so not likely we'll have it by next meeting.
not likely, but we'll see. You know, maybe it's something it depends on how, it really depends on how enthusiastic Oak Ridge is about this and think they can make it work and have the town of Orange join in on it. But we'll have to see. So, any other new business? Anything I forgot? Okay. Our next meeting is Wednesday, February 16th. We'll play it by ear as far as Zoom or in person. We've been in person for several months. I felt, and I got feedback from most of you that you felt much more comfortable tonight being on Zoom. I'm hopeful we can go back in person in February. When we get closer to that meeting, we can see how things are going and make a determination there. So,
Excuse me, Mitch, I have one quick question.
sure, Susan.
About taking the large bags at the transfer station to ShopRite. In an average sedan car, how much do you think how much capacity do I need?
Two or three, maybe four is my thought. That's my guess.
Okay.
So it could be there's several trips. Eileen, I'm sorry.
It would be like the size of a body sitting in the front seat. One of those is like the size of a sort of a rather round person, right?
Right. So you have if you have a 5-passenger car and it's just you can put in 4 bags.
A good sized body.
Seatbelts on.
Or how many bodies can you fit in your trunk?
There you go. If you've got an SUV or you've got a larger trunk space, we'll see. It's not. Listen, the idea in the beginning was that we would have a small town-owned vehicle truck to be able to do that, but as of right now, it's not going to happen. So,
Yeah,
Recruit a committee
we'll
member
give
with a
volunteers.
pickup truck.
Are we going to have
Truck it. Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm just saying we need one committee member with a pickup truck and we'd be
Yeah,
for a while.
right.
That's it.
Is there any chance somebody from ShopRite would want to pick them up since they're the ones going to be using them?
No, I don't believe so. This was a real push there. So, and I see we have a volunteer here as well.
Do we have, are we going to do an online sign up for this volunteer job or how do you want to handle it?
right now, if people are interested, please contact me and I'll have to see, what we can do as far as, Pat, are you willing to try and work something out for tomorrow and Friday? Does that work for you possibly?
I could maybe, I don't know if I can do it tomorrow, but Friday I could probably, depending on the time that you can pick them up.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can pick them up anytime you want from the transfer station. It's about
Right.
dropping them off, right?
That's right. It's going to be
Anytime
when we
open.
can.
I mean, I don't think I'm not going to fit all 12 in my car, but I can fit as many as I can.
I can do a load depending on the hour.
Okay.
Oh, depending on the time.
So this is great. So let me reach back to Harry. Let him know it's not going to come from the town, but I've got a bunch of volunteers, and we'll try to figure out what works best. But it looks like their timing is pretty specific. That it's going to have to be somebody's going to have to contact them Thursday of a particular week and let them know they're coming Friday, and then arrange the right time with them on Friday. I mean, it's going to be probably some fits and starts in the beginning of this, and then we'll find out how well we get to that point.
But if we get one bag over this week, just to get it started.
Yeah, right, exactly. As long as we get a few bags over just as a test, and it doesn't have to be all 12.
Yeah.
If one person could do it just to see how it flows.
Yeah, because they may want us to arrive at one time and not multiple
Yeah.
drop-offs. So we got to coordinate all the
Right.
logistics to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll look out for an email perhaps and see how we can
Yeah, let me
connect together with this.
let me see what I can find out. And for those of you that think you can help out, which sounds like almost everybody here,
Yeah.
we'll see what we can do.
I wonder why they're so specific with the time. I mean, they have nowhere to keep them for. Seems crazy. Seems like a little whatever.
I'm not sure. I think their pickup is actually on a Friday or Saturday, and they wanted to. I think what was coming down to was, this is how much, and I'm surmising from my back and forth with Harry, that they fill a good portion of whatever truck size they use every week, every 2 weeks, whatever it is, and there's probably enough room for probably 12 or 15 bags of our size each week. But they didn't want us to be first in the truck and then not having enough room for theirs by the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
So, and that makes sense.
Yep.
Maybe eventually we could talk to some of the other charitable groups in the town, like the Lions Club. They do the pickups of the mattresses. So maybe if they have a lot of retired gentlemen and somebody who has a pickup truck, they might want to help out with that.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different possibilities that hopefully we can. This is great to hear so many people tonight. Are that excited about helping out, and one of our guests, Sarah's on here now, one of our guests, and she says, she's got a pickup that she can help possibly depending on the timing. So that's great too.
And anybody with a high schooler who has to do volunteer hours.
Chris worked very hard trying to get Matt over at Home Depot to get some sort of shed up, so we can't.
Yeah.
That is true.
You got to keep those doors open of that shed, whatever it costs.
Exactly.
So, if we can figure it out, I'm not sure we'll be able to pull it off, tomorrow, as quickly as tomorrow, but certainly by next week, we should have something hopefully in place. I'm not sure it's going to matter to them, who it is, but I got to find out some more details too. So we'll see what we can figure out.
That's great.
Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Is there any else? Sorry.
Not such bad news after all.
Well,
Oh,
you guys turned lemons into lemonade tonight. So this is great. This is great. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Susan, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Chris. All right, we are adjourned at 7:55.